This is a boring business I bought for $0 just about 2 years ago. And by the end of this year, we're probably going to sell it for at least $1 million in profit. Now, I know it sounds unbelievable, but in this video, I'll tell you exactly how I did it, what it will end up making me, and how you can do the exact same thing. But first, what business did I actually buy without spending a dime? The answer to that question is an accounting firm. And I did it with 2 other partners. Now, why did I choose an accounting firm? Accounting firms are great for a couple of reasons. Number one is the demographic play. Think right now of your typical accountant. How old are they in your mental picture that you just took of an accountant? How old are they? Yes. You're thinking of someone who's probably over the age of 55, probably getting close to their 60s. Most accountants are baby boomers and they are retiring. So demographically, there are a huge amount of small family accounting firms that need to exchange hands over the next decade because they're retiring. Another great reason accounting firms are such a great investment is because of the way in which they produce revenue, which is recurring. Accounting firms typically make most of their revenue through taxes and through bookkeeping. Both are recurring. Bookkeeping is a monthly thing, taxes are a yearly thing, and it's something that businesses and individuals alike need every single year. As long as there's taxes around, which they're not going anywhere unfortunately, you're going to be having accountants and you're going to be having bookkeeping firms. Now let's get into why buying them are so good. Now, we just talked about how the revenue is recurring, and usually the profit margins on an accounting firm are going to be between 30 and 45%, so you get these really healthy margins. But that doesn't translate to making them more expensive, at least not yet. Now, accounting firms are going up in price over the last couple of years, and more parties are finding out why they're such a lucrative business to play in. So a lot of private equity firms and a lot of smart investors are now investing in accounting firms, but there's still time for you to get in. Now, accounting firms are valued based on the previous year's revenue, not on cash flow. So you can buy $1 million accounting firm and it's priced at $1 million because last year it did $1 million. Now, accounting firms are getting more expensive. Now, instead of just being 1x the previous year's revenue, now they're going as high as 1.4x. The larger that they get, the higher the multiple becomes. Now, as I mentioned before, accounting firms are very profitable. That same level of profit, a 35 to 40% profit margin on a $1 million business, that's $350,000 to $400,000. That being a plumbing company, HVAC company, or any other home service business would be well over $1 million. You're talking probably $1.2 to $1.5 million. So you're getting the same amount of cash flow at a discounted rate. Another great reason why I'm looking at accounting firms is because of what you can do to make them better. Accounting firms are very much done online. All right, so your bookkeeping, yearly taxes, and a lot of those things can be made way more efficient with AI. Now, one of the biggest questions I get is, are you afraid that AI is going to replace accountants? And I'm not, especially in the short term, over the next 10-year window. The reason is there's still a level of liability that an accountant takes when they sign that they did your taxes. Until that liability is taken care of, so we're talking actual legislation being passed, which as dysfunctional as Congress is right now, legislation is not going to be passed. Unless that changes, accountants are still going to have to oversee what happens when they sign on a tax return. So because of that, there are a lot of ways in which you can make these firms more efficient. Sometimes it means offshoring some of your talent, but a lot of times it's keeping your onshore talent and implementing AI into a lot of the systems and processes and communication with your clients. Overall, accounting firms have been something I've been focusing on for the last couple of years. And since this first firm that I bought with a couple of my partners, since then we've done another 5 different acquisitions in this space. You can check out other videos where I talk about what I'm doing with accounting firms, how I'm doing a roll-up strategy, and what that looks like. But now let's move on. Now, these kinds of opportunities do not just fall into your lap and there goes, you're done. As a matter of fact, there are steps you can take to ensure that you also have a higher chance of finding these outlier deals and buy your first profitable, boring business. So, how did I find it? There's 2 main ways in which you can find an accounting firm to buy. And this goes for almost every business out there. On market, listed with a broker, or off market, where you are reaching out directly to potential sellers. We were doing both when we found this deal. This deal was actually listed for a broker and was listed at the price of $1.8 million. Now, the good thing about this business was that it had multiple partners that were wanting to stay on for at least a few years after the transition. So for me and my partners, we didn't have to worry about taking on all the things that you need to do when you run a business day one. In fact, out of the 3 of us, one was going to be an operating partner and he was the one who was going to take over the day to day. Now, the cool thing about this business is because the team that owned it previously had spent years developing good systems and processes and were still sticking around years after the sale of the business, my partner, who was the operating partner, was not full-time in the business. In fact, he didn't even live in the state, which was Kentucky. He actually lives in Florida, and he would fly out there periodically to check in on things, make sure the team was doing well, make big decisions, but still spent the majority of his time away from the office. And that was possible because of the way we select our deals. We find deals where the ownership is either going to be sticking around for an extended period of time after the acquisition, or they have a general manager already in place that is running the day-to-day. So let's go back to how I found this. Now, in order to find a deal, you need to do volume. That means every single day you are reaching out to brokers in the desired niche and asking them for their new listings. You want to get the listing before they list it publicly. And the way to do that is to build rapport with the broker, build relationships. They see that you're a serious buyer. They want to send you a pocket listing before they list it. And so if you gain their trust, they will send that to you, get to look at it, and you a lot of times can make an offer on a deal before anyone else can compete with you. So in order to do this, every single day you need to be going out there, making calls, making relationships with brokers, checking what's coming onto the market. The second thing you need to do is off-market sourcing. This is where you're reaching directly out to the sellers. So you're going to be doing what I recommend, a cold email campaign. So instead of cold calling and knocking on doors, both which can work, I want you to focus on cold email. Cold email can scale, and that is the most important thing. You can go out and send tens of thousands of emails a week, wherein if you're doing cold calling or if you're doing knocking on doors, you're talking maybe a couple hundred. And that's if you're spending all day long doing it. So because you're able to reach out to tens of thousands every single week, you're obviously going to get way more leads and you're actually going to get way more possible deals. Remember, business acquisition is a numbers game. Now, before I tell you exactly how the deal was structured so you can do it in a similar way, there's an opportunity for you to learn the whole art of buying boring businesses even faster. Almost anyone can take home an additional 6 figures a year in profit doing these strategies, just like I did. And I explain more about it if you click the top link in the description or scan the QR code on the screen. So when we found the right firm, it was a matter of ensuring we had the right deal in place. The way we structured the deal is a great lesson for anyone looking to get into acquiring boring businesses. So pay attention here. This particular deal was structured as a trifecta deal. Now, what does trifecta mean? It means SBA, seller financing, and buyer injection of capital. Now, I mentioned that I had 2 other partners in this deal. Okay, so I was a minority owner in this deal. I had my operating partner, and then we had another partner who provided the capital. Now, the operating partner was the one who was going to be on the loan taking the personal guarantees. So they had the majority equity position. I'm the one who helped finding the deal, going through the analysis, getting everything set to get the deal done. And for that service, I was given a minority stake in the company. Now, the same thing with the other partner who brought the capital. He brought the capital to the deal as a down payment, and he also received a minority stake in the deal as well. Now, as I mentioned before, this was an SBA and seller finance and buyer injection of capital deal. So there's 3 funding mechanisms. Now, with the SBA loan, as you guys have probably seen from my previous videos, you can get anywhere between 80 and sometimes up to 95% of the SBA covering the purchase price. The remainder in this deal was covered by the partner's injection of capital to put the down payment. So that meant that the operating partner did not bring upfront capital to the deal, but they were going to be bringing their time and energy and resources as well as taking on the personal guarantee for the loan. And I came in with my expertise and was able to get a minority stake in the company with putting no money into the deal. Now, you might be saying right now, well, Ben, you can do this, but you know everybody and you have a big network and people want to have you on their deals. And yes, having a network and having built up the brand that I have and doing this does help me get access to these types of deals. But I have plenty of students in my program doing the exact same thing on their first deal. One of those students was Josh Wilson. And you guys can look up and find other videos where I'm interviewing him and how he was able to do his first deal. Now, the reason why it's possible is because most people out there do not know how to go about the process of business acquisition. They go talk to a broker, they kind of talk to a lawyer, they try to figure out how the whole process works. And if you can help them, guide them through the process, make it way more efficient, show them how to value deals, you're bringing a meaningful amount of value to that deal. If they want to go out and hire someone to do that for them, they would have to pay them tens of thousands of dollars at least to advise them on a deal like this. And you're doing it to get an equity piece of the deal. Once you understand how to talk to business owners, you understand how to find deals, evaluate them, how to structure deals, that is a huge amount of value. Do not sell yourself short. And you're able to take that value and transform that value into equity, into real deals, just like I did in this deal. So the way this deal ended up being done is 80% SBA financing, 10% seller note, 10% buyer injection of capital. Now the seller note was on full standby for a couple years, and then it would be over a 5-year term to be paid out. This is a very typical deal doing the trifecta approach. Most deals done, especially inside my community, are done this exact way. Now, when the deal's in place and everyone has signed on the dotted line, the next question is how do you grow that business so you can sell it for a profit down the line? This here on screen is essentially a step-by-step plan, and it works for any boring business. Let's run through it real quick. Now, one of the coolest things about this deal was how we grew this business. Now, the great thing I love about accounting firms is there's so much low-hanging fruit when it comes to how to grow them. Now, most legacy accounting firms, we're talking firms that are 15, 20, 30 years old, their prices are very under market. What does that mean? It means that they're charging hundreds of dollars less than they should be charging for personal tax filings, for business tax filings, for bookkeeping. Everything they're doing, someone who came on 15 years ago is still paying the same rate today for the services that they are doing. One of the easiest things to do when you take over these types of firms is to slowly, incrementally raise prices. At this firm, we saw that the tax return prices were very low. We're talking hundreds of dollars lower than the actual market value. And so we knew, just built into our 3-year plan, every year we were going to raise prices by 10%. Now, for most people, it's not going to be that noticeable. If they were paying $400 before for their tax returns, now they're paying $440 for their tax returns. It's not enough to where they're going to kick and scream and leave, but that over thousands of returns starts to make a huge difference to the bottom line. So every single year for the last few years, we have raised our prices. And guess what? We rarely saw any churn, because one of the other great things about accounting firms is that the customer base is extremely sticky. Once they start having an accountant work with them and doing their bookkeeping, it's very hard and very annoying to switch to another service. And that's one of the reasons why accounting firms are valuable, because that revenue that they bring on is very sticky. And so we're already built into our plan. We're growing 10% year over year. The next thing that we did was we started to go out and offer the bookkeeping service that already was being offered to more of our customers. There was no internal marketing to our own customers that own businesses about our bookkeeping services. They may have came on years ago and they were getting their tax returns done, but they were never talked to about the bookkeeping aspect. So we just went out and said, hey, would you like this service as well? And guess what? A good number of them raised their hands and said, we're interested in it. And so just selling another service that we already offered to our existing customers also raised our revenue. We did not go out there and do some kind of crazy marketing scheme or go out there and spend millions of dollars on Facebook ads. Didn't do any of that. We just looked at our current customer base, started selling our own services better to them, and then just slowly raised prices over the last few years. And because of that, we've gained over 6 figures that were added to the bottom line in profit and grew our revenue by hundreds of thousands of dollars per year. Now, the last question on your mind will probably be, if everything was going so well, why are you going to sell it? I'll explain exactly why we're selling, but also give you a framework to know when you should at the same time. Why are we selling right now? One of the reasons, as I mentioned in the beginning of the video, is that accounting firms are going through a renaissance right now. A lot of big money PE groups are very interested in buying solid accounting firms, and they're offering very good prices for it. The accounting firm market has continued to get higher and higher in multiples, which means that the selling price has gotten higher and higher over the last couple of years since we purchased this firm. Now, because of raising our prices every year, because of adding more customers to our services that we offer, we've increased revenue substantially, as well as our SDE or cash flow. Now, instead of selling at a 1x the previous year's revenue, we're looking at multiple offers at 1.4x or even higher on our revenue. And our revenue has increased by hundreds of thousands of dollars. So a firm that we had bought for just under $2 million will now be sold for a multiple of that 3 years later. Now, we could stay on and continue doing what we're doing, hope that the market continues to go higher and higher in accounting firms, and maybe even sell for millions of dollars more in the next 3 to 5 years. But for right now, my partners and I both agree we're going to take advantage of the current environment. We've grown this firm substantially. It has a great team in place, and we're going to move it on to the next person who's going to take it to the next level. We're going to be able to take the cash that we have put into this and now reinvest it into more businesses. And while we have still not sold it yet from the offers we're getting, we'll probably be able to make around $2 million in profit from this sale in less than 3 years. Now, for someone who didn't put any capital into the deal, just my time and energy, the return is going to be awesome. And I'm super excited for my other partners in this deal, because this was their first deal that they've done, and it is going to be a grand slam. And I know that that is just the beginning for them as they go out and look at more deals. Now, of course, you can watch this video and still think, man, I'm not sure if an accounting firm would even be the right fit for me. And I totally get that. So in this video, on the screen right here, I talk about a bunch of other boring businesses that will explode in 2026. So get over there and find your first boring business. Talk to you soon.